Hello everybody, and for those listening on the Downforce UK network, it's Alex Goldschmidt, series commentator for the Bambino Kart Club and Interkart Championships series here, speaking not just on the Downforce UK audio network, but also on Alpha Live. Thank you very much, Mr. Topless. Look forward to seeing the pre-final for the F100s a little bit later on, which will take place after our customary lunch break. So taking us in to the completion of the first half of the day's action here at Nuts Corner in Northern Ireland. It's the Bambino Kart Club. First out on track, it is the Coma C50s. And last time out, Ben Smith was the fastest driver out of all 18 last time around with a 1 minute 23.996. As Ben has alluded to just a moment ago, that there are dark clouds forming around Nuts Corner. But hopefully as the session progresses, we won't have that kind of issue a little bit later on. Obviously, we want to make sure that everyone gets through the racing pretty quickly. So, another 10 minutes to go for the Coma C50s. They have 4 competitive time trial heats this weekend, with the 12-minute final, which concludes our GP. So it won't be the Bambino Iamis that will close off the BKC action this weekend. This time it will be the C50 Comas. They actually have quite a lot of track time in comparison with the other competitors, as just coming into shot there is Seb Moore, who finished second in the last time trial. I'm just wondering, is that Ben Smith just behind him in the number 11? Looks to be the case. So thank you very much for everyone that's continuing to watch on the Downforce UK Facebook page, the Karting Magazine Facebook page, and also the Alpha Live YouTube channel. Go and why not follow them on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube as well. Of course, we've just made a breaking announcement this morning that the Bambino Kart Club has its official YouTube channel up and running, and every single race, including the time trials here with the C50 Comas, will be uploaded. So if you want to watch a particular race with myself as series commentator, even though I'm not there in Northern Ireland, I am there in spirit, not in body. I understand that it was quite a deluge. We'll have a roundup of the day's activities a little bit later on this week on the Downforce UK website itself, which you can find at downforceracing.uk. Looks to be Jack McLaughlin and Ethan Barth there coming into shot. Both were 9th and 10th respectively in the last heat, and Ethan was about nearly half a second quicker. So 7 minutes to go, still waiting for some initial benchmarks to show up on the timing screen. So in the last heat, it was Ben Smith who has just put in a 1 minute 24.872, but Alfie Howland's already bettered that with a 1 minute 24.450. Then it's Jason Park and Jesse Phillips and Alex Butler rounding out the top 5. Jensen Chalk now goes in with a 1 minute 28.950. Jack McLaughlin up to 6th. Lucas Stonia up into 9th. Jack Moran are now up into 6th position. Rory Armstrong now takes 10th. Oh, and there was someone... and there's been a bit of a collision there. Oh, my goodness. And that is Ethan Barth. Might have just been slightly nipped around there by Jack McLaughlin in the 66 as Ethan rejoins. So it looks like Seb Moore might have had an issue on the last lap around. Did a 2 minute 4.434. Not the pace that I would expect from the number 50, who is circulating. So we did see that in the previous heat that 4 or 5 drivers found that their C50 Coma engines would cut out and were having to be restarted at the side of the track. So we will see as things progress just how it all goes. Obviously, I'm going to expect that Seb Moore, barring no issues, that the Rochdale youngster will be up at the sharp end of the timesheets. Well, Alfie Howland's just gone and set the fastest time of the day so far. It was a 1 minute 23.998 from Ben Smith, who's currently circulating in 5th with a 1 minute 24.8. Alfie Howland has just come in and done a 1 minute 23.530. Now, the O-Plate driver from Ashford Very big Mercedes fan, huge Mercedes fan. Hopefully, I might be able to catch up with him at the return of the Deutsche Tourenwagen Masters. The DTM returns to Brands Hatch in just a couple of weekends' time. So more touring car action as if the Diamond Double at Snetterton, with rain aplenty there, I understand, in Norfolk, coming down quite considerably. So, at the moment, top 10 with about 4 minutes 15 on the clock. Seb Moore's just gone back into 6th position on a 1 minute 24.851. Alfie Howland's fastest of everybody, 1 minute 23.530. Jesse Phillips, a 1 minute 24.323 in 2nd place, ahead of Alex Butler in the number 52. Jason Park and Ben Smith round out the top 5, both respectively setting a 1 minute 24.8 and a 1 minute 24.817. Seb Moore's best effort so far from the number 50, a 1 minute 24.851. Alfie Howland, actually pretty consistent in his lap times. He's just on a 1 minute 23.538, so he's 8 1,000ths off of his best lap time so far. So top 10, 3.5 minutes to go. Alfie Howland leads from Jesse Phillips, Alex Butler, Ben Smith, Jason Park, Seb Moore, Lucas Stonia, Jack Moran, Jack Paul, and Ollie Meek. Oh, crikey, the number 20 now up into the top 10. Well, actually, that was the top 10, now becomes the top 11. As Jack McLaughlin, who's trying to looks like he's trying to wrestle his way past Jensen Chalk in the number 18, who's just running in the 1 minute 30s at the moment. And good to see that a lot of traffic on Facebook at the moment. I've just seen Chad Leman's dad Bart put in a 3rd place in heat number 1 and a deluge of photos. That's really, really good to see. Really, really good to see. Really enjoying that. Of course, there's a lot of action on this weekend. Hungarian Grand Prix in Budapest, which I think will start very shortly. The Total Spa 24 Hours, I think, is still currently underway. I think other events. Oh, and then we got one off there, and that's the number 50. Oh, that's Jack Paul. So currently 9th and is stranded. Looks to be off the off turns 4 and 5. So and Jack gets on going under his own power, which is really, really good to see. So the number 51 rejoins. So those dark clouds, Ben, you weren't kidding. Oh, we got another one off. That looks to be at turn 2, I believe. Could that be at the far side of the track? That looks like... I can't get a closer... Oh, we've got more drivers going off of track. Now, that's Seb Moore. I think that was Ronnie Carter that's gone off as well. Yes, that is. So Seb Moore in 6th position. Evan Johnston in 14th. 1 minute 20 on the clock to go. Ben, you weren't half kidding about those clouds. Very dark and very foreboding. Pretty much what I experienced on Friday night. Going to a takeaway outlet near, just literally around the corner from where I live, as we've got 1 minute on the clock to go. Alfie Howland looks to make it 1-1 between him and Ben Smith, as Seb Moore has some work to do. But of course, you've got to factor in the fact that the GP plate will not be decided until the last Bambino Kart Club race this afternoon, which is a first for this season. But obviously, with the schedule, with having to work with the F100 crew, really have to say, really good job between the organising bodies of both championships to come to a mutual agreement. So 23 on the clock. Alfie Howland still continues to lead. Jack McLaughlin now up into 7th overall on a 1 minute 26.260. 2.7 seconds off of Alfie Howland's pace. So 4 on the clock. And time has now expired. That concludes the session. Some drivers will still try to get in their fastest lap times. So I think that's a very slow Seb Moore there. Oh, who's just pulled off. He's just peeled off at the penultimate. Well, the one from penultimate corner. That's disaster for the number 50. He's just hit the steering wheel in slight frustration there. He knows that he's been in with a shot every single round this year. Well, now he gets back underway again and looks to his right to safely rejoin. Looks like the session is now concluded because the checkered flag is out, even though we are having some slight issues with the transponders. For anyone wanting to catch any of the live timing, it is live.alphatiming.co.uk/F100. So Jack McLaughlin rounds out. He does 3 places better this time around. Was 10th in the first one, 7th in this. Lucas Stonia was 7th. He's 8th in this particular one. Ethan Barth was 9th, but ended up 12th at the end of the session. Jason Park was 4th, but now finishes 5th. Jack Moran in 9th. So there we go. Alfie Howland wins heat number 2 for the time trial heat number 2 for the C50s. Ahead of Jesse Phillips, Alex Butler, Ben Smith, Jason Park, with Seb Moore all the way down in 6th position. Jack McLaughlin was 7th ahead of Lucas Stonia. Well, Ben Smith's been confirmed in 4th. Oliver Meek just a fraction outside of the top 10 in terms of time trial competition. The youngster in the number 20 did a best lap of a 1 minute 27.513. So Lucas Stonia in 8th, Jack Moran 9th, Jack Poole 10th, Oliver Meek 11th ahead of Ethan Barth, Jensen Chalk, Evan Johnston, Rory Armstrong, Ronnie Ray Carter, and Brogan McDonald, with Riley Stewart rounding out the 18-strong grid. And times have improved marginally. Well, actually, the biggest improver, I think, is probably Riley Stewart, who did a 1 minute 42.7. He's bettered that quite considerably. Did a 1 minute 36.240. Now it is time to get back to some good old racing here in Bambino Miami this time around. Heat number 2, before we go to the GP plate final a little bit later on. Now this was an absolute 2018 classic, and now there have been a couple of exclusions, I'm afraid. Henry Domain was no longer the winner of heat number 1. He was excluded post-scrutineering for non-compliance technical, as was Rudy Breen. So these guys, I've got a feeling, are going to be starting at the back part of the grid. But with the pace that the pair of them can show, I'm sure that they can work together. They now come into shot. So Henry Domain and Rudy Breen. So that is pretty interesting how a non-compliance can put a spanner in the works for any kind of competitor. We had that with Ada Sexton last time out at GYG, where she was competing with them. Now, that's quite interesting because I've just seen Henry Domain pull up onto the front of the grid. So, drivers now in position. Start your engines, signal to the grid, as it is now being cleared ahead of Bambino Miami. Heat number 2. So it looks like there's a little bit of sunshine. 5-second board. The red lights are on the starting gantry, and we go lights out and away, heading down into turn number 1 on Heat 2 for Bambino Miami, and it's nearly 4 abreast going down into turn number 1. Looks like Chad LeMan's got the whole shot, and who else could be going with him? Looks to be the number 7 of Joe Lewis. Fraser Anderson might also be, well, he's a little bit further down the order. He would have started all the way down in around 14th position, having not finished the first heat. So, at the front, Tig Buckley up there as well, and he's gone up the inside of Joe Lewis to take second. Connor Scarisbrick up the inside in to take fourth place. And looks like there was a bit of curb jumping there from Riley Cranham, who's got to watch. Because even though with the sun starting to try and break through these dark, foreboding clouds at the front of the field, and Tig Buckley storms into the lead on the very first lap, getting past Chad Leman. So it's the Irish champion leading the number 16, Joe Lewis, Connor Scarisbrick, and is that Fraser Anderson in fifth? Yes, that is indeed. Right on the back bumper of him, it's Riley Cranham in sixth position. Followed by Laser Tools Racing's very own Western Supermare hotshot, Jacob Ashcroft. As they now come round the final corner for the first time to complete lap number 1. Tig Buckley stealing a march on the opposition. As looks like Scarisbrick has lost out to Cranham going into turn 1. Cranham again is showing clear, great pace here, and he's done a 1 minute 19.4. Field now heads through turn 2, down the straight into turn number 3, and he's swarming all over the back of Joe Lewis for third position. Oh, there we go. It could be pod to pod. It pretty much is heading into turn number 4, and Cranham goes up the inside of Lewis for third position. But Lewis is already back on the offensive. He's got Scarisbrick, Anderson. You've also got Ashcroft, and Cole Glover is also in the mix with this one. Don't count out the likes of Max Haller and Thomas Clark, who are having a battle, it looks like, with Henry Domain. Also, Rudy Breen is up the order to 12th now. So Buckley leads, and I'm talking Tig Buckley here, the Irish champion, has a lead of just over half a second. Cranham in second. Lewis in third. Leman fourth. Scarisbrick, Anderson, Ashcroft and Glover. Look at how closely packed the top 8 are. They were separated by just over 1.5 seconds, and Cranham is absolutely flying. A 1 minute 14. And Leman goes up the inside of Joe Lewis, who's straight on the offensive going into turn number 2. Anderson is also trying to put the feelers out on Scarisbrick. Ashcroft is with them, as is Glover. As Lewis goes up the inside, Scarisbrick's going to try and do the same on Leman too. As there we go, the lead change has finally happened. Tig Buckley, but is not giving up without a fight on Riley Cranham. It's side by side going through turns 5 and 6. Buckley's got the... Oh, that's very, very close there, gentlemen. But I have to say, clean racing thus far. Fastest lap of the race so far, it's Riley Cranham with a 1 minute 14.063. He took over 3.5 tenths of a second out of Tig Buckley on the last lap. Chad Leman all the way down in 4th position now. Lewis in 3rd. Scarisbrick 4th. Leman now down in 5th. With both, it looks like Anderson and Ashcroft have dropped Cole Glover. Well, where is Cole Glover? Because I've just seen Max Haller come into shot. As Lewis is being challenged quite significantly there by not just Connor Scarisbrick, who's gone right up the inside. Leman's going to try and go with him, heading into turn number 2. And it looks like he's making the move. He nearly got past Scarisbrick as Ashcroft went up the inside of Anderson there for 6th position. Great dueling and dicing with our Bambino Iamis here at Nuts Corner. So Buckley is in 2nd, and he's right on the back bumper of Riley Cranham going down the back straight, heading into the final part of the track. He's going to try and go for the move. It's side by side. As I'm just being pinged a message from Northern Ireland. Nice work, Luke. 5 cameras up and running. Fantastic job, my friend. So this means this coverage is going to go to a whole nother level throughout the day. But at the front of the field, 3.5 minutes to go. Now it's a case of Cranham versus Tig Buckley. Now these two are in close contention for this GP plate. And I know that, well, you can see by the denominations on their carts. We've got the O8 champion of Riley Cranham versus the Irish champion of Tig Buckley. And Buckley's gone up the inside, nice and clean there, side by side through turn number 2. Now into the left-hander at turn 3. Now this is where it gives Cranham the advantage as Chad Leman has dropped all the way down to 7th position. Henry Domain, I think, has got past Max Horler for 8th place. So leaders coming through, and Buckley still leading. Less than 2.5 minutes on the clock to go. And Cranham has gone for it again. Here we go, up the inside, into the corner off the back straight. And if we can keep an eye on what's happening behind, this is absolutely mind-blowing stuff here. So, looks, I'm wondering, has there been a change for third? I'm thinking, is that Fraser Anderson that's made it into third place? I'm not too sure. I can't make out. But leaders coming across the start-finish line. Buckley's trying to go round towards the outside of turn 1 on Riley Cranham. What a move! Absolutely perfectly timed there by the Irish champion. Well, my goodness me, my heart is in my mouth. Jacob Ashcroft's done it again. He's coming up through the field. Anderson. Lewis now in 5th. Scarisbrick down into 6th position ahead of Joe Lewis. 1 minute 20 on the clock. I thought that I saw a couple of flashes of blue and a flash of yellow in the back part of the video footage, as looks like now Chad Leman is on the march, and he's trying to take, I think, Joe Lewis with him. Max Horler looks to be pretty close to this train as well. So Cranham and Buckley, you cannot separate them. They are side by side. And then Buckley swoops through towards the last couple of 3 corners to retake the lead. Less than a minute on the clock to go, plus an additional lap. It is about who wants it the most, but it's also going to see who's going to have the strategic advantage, because it's now side by side, a drag race across the line. 45 seconds plus an additional lap. It was 0.23 between them. Buckley swoops up the inside to retake the lead. Cranham's trying to sweep in to carry more momentum through turn number 2. He's pretty close. He's within not even a bumper's length of Tyg Buckley. Here we go. The move is trying to happen, but Buckley knows this track very, very well. 5 seconds on the clock. Time is about to expire here for Bambino Iami, heat number 2 at Nuts Corner. So it'll be this and an additional lap to go. Meanwhile, Jacob Ashcroft, and there we go. Buckley is still keeping to the inside line, keeping Cranham at bay. Ashcroft has dropped the rest of the drivers. It looks like the man's ahead of Anderson and Lewis. Lewis has gone up the inside. Anderson's trying to do the same as well. Gets up the inside of Chad Leman. So Ashcroft has got distance between himself and Joe Lewis, who is in 4th. Behind him, the number 50 of Fraser Anderson. Then the 16 of Chad Leman. And that's Henry Domain, who's been absolutely on a march as the youngster in the number 65 from Halstead. So last lap board is out for the leaders, who are now going through turn number 2. Leman is trying to go up the inside of Anderson into turn number 1, which he does so. And Anderson had 2 wheels on one side of the white line. Look at this battling at the front of the field. Let's keep an eye on this. So Buckley leads as the pair of him and Riley Cranham come through towards the back straight for the final time of asking. And there is more ducking and darting as it's ultra defensive from Tyg Buckley heading into the last part of this race. It's been an absolutely brilliant display between the two. A mano-a-mano duel at the front of the field. They now come through the penultimate from last corner. And Buckley is holding on for the minute, but it's going to be dependent on who's got the momentum coming out of the final corner. It's Buckley from Cranham. Cranham is trying to go for it. It's going to be a run to the finish. And it's going to be Buckley. Buckley takes the checkered flag by 0.052. A near photo finish yet again here. Jacob Ashcroft takes third ahead of Joe Lewis with Chad LeMan rounding out the top 5. What a drive from Henry Domain right from the back part of the field to finish in 6th place ahead of Scotland's Fraser Anderson with Thomas Clark, Max Horler and Cole Glover rounding out the top 10. So let's run you through the finishing order of what was hands down another classic here in Bambino Kart Club history. So, Tig Buckley by just 0.052 of a second wins from Riley Cranham. So, Irish champion against O-Plate champion. It's nip and tuck. We'll find out in the final, which decides the GP plate later on this afternoon. Jacob Ashcroft puts himself in contention with a well-deserved third place finish ahead of Joe Lewis. Chad LeMan from Ireland in the number 16 rounds out the top 5. Henry Domain stormed his way from the back of the field to come back to 6th position ahead of Fraser Anderson. Thomas Clark, Max Horler and Cole Glover who rounded out the top 10. Connor Scarisbrick would finish unfortunately down in 11th at the end ahead of Jacob Giblett-Lee. Teddy Woodard, Rudy Breen, Senna Blue Breslin and Poppy Thomas rounding out the 16 strong. So that was another exciting Bambino Kart Club Iami Bambino heat. We'll see them in the final a little bit later on, which has just quite literally, we're running about 40 or so minutes behind schedule, so we'll probably see them around about 20 to 5 this afternoon, I think, just depending on obviously how things go. But now it is time for the last heat for the Honda Cadets. So it looks to be that we will have the likes of Burrows, McMahon, Stannard and Tomilewski battling it out. So we'll just see with regards to the grid for this one, as it looks to be a resumption of what we had earlier on. So your front row will be McMahon, Canoan, Burrows, Stannard, Gardner, Paul, Tomilewski, Butlin and Anslow. So drivers now getting to the grid for the second time of asking. The only category that we now have in BKC, obviously we started it, we trialled it at GYG. It seemed to work with the Iami Cadets going into rolling start formation. So 2x2 and race direction will then call whether we go racing. So it's McMahon from Canoan, Burrows from Stannard, Gardner from Poole, Tomilewski, Butlin, Anslow. So that's 33, 92, 16, 6, 66, 9, 20, 88 and 14. That is your starting order for Bambino Kart Club Honda Cadets, heat number 2 here at Nuts Corner in Northern Ireland. So 5 second board is out, red lights on the starting gantry, and lights out and away we go. And it looks like Tomilewski's got a really good good start there from the back part of the field. Starting in 7th, he's now up into 6th place. So already making up a position. Looks like Burrows is at it again, and Canoan's lost out a place. Gone down to 3rd, as Tomilewski has really got the fire in his belly, and he's already up into 5th, and we've not even completed one lap. The Polish driver now on the charge already. This young man who I've met, him and his family, absolutely wonderful people. I've likened him to a potential successor to Robert Kubica. I know that his parents, Rafał and Kasia, will like that comment. They've loved it all season. As it looks like Kasper's already up into 4th place and charging. So, looks like McMahon in the lead. And that looks to be Lewis Stannard. Stannard, who had that coming together with Damien Barris-Haggett last time around at GYG in the Honda Cadet final. But then you've got Jack Burrows. But here comes the youngster from Glasgow, Kasper Tomilewski, absolutely on a charge. Look at how close the top 4 are. They are just 0.5 of a second exactly separated. Tomilewski does a 1 minute 11, 8:19 as Burrows is trying to... now look at... Whoa, Tomilewski got incredible purchase. He's gone side by side with Burrows heading into turn 3. He's got incredible acceleration coming out of turn number 3. And with him, he's bringing Ollie Poole as well. So McMahon, Stannard, Burrows, Tomilewski. Fastest out on track there, no doubt, the number 20 with a 1 minute 11.819. McMahon did a 1 minute 13.240 last time around. So, leaders coming to the back part of the circuit, and it looks like there is a dice a little bit further down the order. So, Burrows has got Tomaszewski with him, as well as Ollie Poole. So we've got 6.5 minutes plus an additional lap. Running order as follows. McMahon, Stannard, Burrows, Tomaszewski, Poole, Canoan, Butlin, Gardner and Anslow. Top four separated by 0.7 of a second. Fastest lap of the race now goes to Ollie Poole, 1 minute 9.570, as Tomaszewski is trying to use that tactic again on Jack Burrows. But Burrows a bit wiser there. Goes to the outside to close the door on the Polish driver. Meanwhile at the back, oh, well, there we go. Jack Burrows right up the inside of Lewis Stannard for position. That's now up into second place. Coming out of what looked to be turn 5. Now they go down onto the back straight. As Tomaszewski is also going for it past Stannard. Couldn't quite get the slingshot past going down the back straight. But still, it's all to play for. We still have the GP final to concentrate on later on. And I know that every single driver that's now in the top 5 at the moment, as looks like Burrows is getting incredibly racy behind McMahon for the lead of the race. Tomaszewski almost going side by side into turn 1 with Lewis Stannard. Ollie Poole is also running with the Polish driver as well. Look at how close this top 5 is. 0.562 of a second. Tomaszewski also trying to go past Stannard, trying to go for that outside overtake, possibly. As McMahon continues to lead. Burrows in second. Stannard keeping Tomaszewski and Poole at bay for the minutes. 4 minutes 15 on the clock left to go here for Honda Cadet heat number 2 as Poole is going nearly side by side. Oh, that was a bit of a dart in behind Joseph McMahon by Jack Burrows there. So still undecided as of yet as to who is going to be leading this race and who's going to take the win here. It was Burrows last time out. Well, there we go. Burrows swoops inside Joseph McMahon with an absolutely convincing and textbook overtake on turn number 1 as Tomaszewski is right on the back bumper of Stannard going in towards turn number 3. He's having to play it nice and cool and conservative as looks like McMahon is still there or thereabouts. 3 minutes 11. Tomaszewski is going round, trying to carry more momentum past Stannard as they now go onto the back straight. Tomaszewski, I think, has made the move. Yes, the Polish driver has done it. Nice work by the number 20, sponsored by Breck Racing. So he's now up into third place, ahead of Lewis Stannard, as it's still nose to tail between Jack Burrows, who's leading from Joseph McMahon. 2 minutes 20 on the clock, plus an additional lap to go. And if the top 2 continue to battle as they are, Kasper Tomaszewski, well, I didn't really need to say it, did I? He's got the toe, he's got the momentum on McMahon. So the Polish driver now fighting in the top 3. And into turn 2 they go. Who's going to get the better purchase? Tomaszewski is an opportunistic animal. Oh, that was so close heading into turn number 3. As McMahon is sizing up Burrows for the lead going into turn 4. No, not yet. McMahon's got to bide his time, but I think Tomaszewski knows that he's got the kart under him. The kart is responding. The tyres have come alive. And here he goes. He's going down the back straight. Who's going to make it into second place? Oh, not quite. McMahon got there first, but Tomaszewski had a good run coming out of that corner. May have compromised his exit out of the back straight, which has allowed both Stannard and Poole right with them. Fastest lap of the race so far, 1 minute 8.980. But look, again, Tomaszewski is closing up on the top 2 We've got just over a minute plus an additional lap to go in this second cadet heat under Honda power. And Tomilevski is right on the back bumper of McMahon. How's he going to respond coming out of turn number 2? He's at it again. I can see it quite convincingly, but McMahon just pulls the cart across quite cleanly, firmly, but fairly there, I have to say, from the number 33, as Tomilevski is trying to do his utmost. 35 on the clock. Your running order at the minute, it is still Jack Burrows, who could very shortly be 2 for 2 here. But it's dependent on whether Joseph McMahon and the number 33 and Kasper Tomilevski have anything to say about it. And the top 3 were separated by just under 3.5 tenths of a second. You can't count out Lewis Stannard and Ollie Poole, who are closely behind in 4th and 5th position. So it looks like we're going to have this and probably an additional couple of laps here in this Honda Cadet Heat number 2 for BKC, as Tomilevski has now got the run that he needs. I can sense this as he's going for it. Now what's going to happen going into... He's got his nose ahead going into turn 2. Is he going to go around the outside? He has! My godfathers, that was another fantastic overtake round the outside of turn 1. We saw it by Jacob Ashcroft in the last heat. Tomilevski has just done the same. Now, this is the last lap. Could anything happen? In racing, it normally does. But with the pace that he has shown throughout this race, Kasper Tomilevski is hunting down Jack Burrows. I cannot believe I'm saying these words again. But think of it this way. McMahon could still be a tour de force. He was second in the first heat. He's third at the moment as they now come into the final part of the circuit. Now Tomilevski will have the run of momentum coming out of this final corner. The anticipation is going to be building very shortly because it looks like Tomilevski is gearing up for it. You can sense it right now. They come round the final corner. Tomilevski is going for it. He's going towards the inside run, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Burrows takes it ahead of Tomilevski by 0.86 of a second at the flag. McMahon takes third ahead of Lewis Stannard, Ollie Poole, Charlie Gardner, Ruben Canoan, Ashton Butlin and Jacob Anslow. What a great finish to another fantastic Honda Cadet Heat. So Jack Burrows wins by 0.086 of a second ahead of Poland's Kasper Tomilevski. Joseph McMahon in third. Lewis Stannard fourth ahead of Ollie Poole, Charlie Gardner, Ruben Canoan, Ashton Butlin and Jacob Anslow. Ladies and gentlemen, the top 4 split by just over half a second at the flag. This has been uncategorically the most competitively fought BKC round this season. We have had multiple drag races to the finish, and it just goes to show that you get that. If we could get a replay of just how Tomilevski was just sizing up Burrows for that last-ditch attack, coming through the penultimate corner, I could sense that Tomilevski was taking a tighter line, was trying to gear him up for more momentum, but I'm sure that we'll have something like that maybe a little bit later on, depending if Luke, our good friend over at Alpha Live in Northern Ireland, might be able to help us with a replay. But that was unbelievable. Tomilevski from 7th to 2nd. So, looks like now, ladies and gentlemen, we have our final race before the lunch break here in Northern Ireland. It is going to be our Army Cadets. So, in qualifying, Jack Buckley, it's going to be a repeat of the front row. So, it is Buckley, so Jack Buckley in the number 10 with Callum Graffin alongside him in the 88 on the front row. Thomas Thompson and Luke Agnew in the 13 and 44 will be row 2, ahead of Jack Sant in the 86 and Kenzie McNally in the number 77. Harley Cranham in the number 21 and Michael Gray in the 17 will be on row 4 with TJ Tafe and Sherry Ann Powell rounding out the 10-strong grid. So hopefully this time we get things underway here in Army Cadet. It's the last heat before The GP plates are decided this weekend here at Nuts Corner as we fast approach the end of the championship. So, revs rise. And it looks like we are off here in Miami Cadets. And it looks like Luke Agnew has already got... Well, Luke Agnew's down in 4th. And Callum Graffin's at it again. He's up into the lead. Thomas Thompson has gone with him, along with Jack Buckley. Jack Sant looks to be remaining in 5th position at the moment. So Graffin leads from Thompson, Buckley, Agnew and Jack Sant rounding out the top 5. So, looks like Callum Graffin's just said to Thomas Thompson, let's get away from everybody else. I don't think that's going to be the case, guys, because Jack Buckley is pretty much with you. Because it looks like there's been a move up for 4th position. A little bit further down the order. Looks to be a few changes for position. I think I maybe saw Sherry-Ann Powell making an overtake move there as well. Looks like she's made up 1 place, at the very least. The youngster from London. She's been very, very competitive this season. Obviously, she's had a bit of a hiatus, obviously, with a holiday, a well-deserved holiday. Also, I know that there are several drivers from the Bambino Kart Club who wish they could be with us, myself included, at Nuts Corner. But I know that Larkhall's going to be a fantastic event. That's September 2nd, first weekend of September, as the trio at the front have pulled a considerable gap from Jack Sant, who's now in 4th. So, Graffin, Thompson and Buckley have flown the coop, so to speak. And it's Graffin from Thompson, Buckley in 3rd. Fastest lap of the race so far, 1 minute 11.097 from Thomas Thompson, the number 13. And behind, you've got the likes of Luke Agnew and Kenzie McNally. That's the battle from 4th to 6th place. TJ Tafe has... or Taff, or however you say it. I know that my pronunciations with Tig Buckley at Rowra caused a bit of controversy, but I'll do my best. Tafe now in 7th, ahead of Michael Gray. Sherry-Ann Powell now in 9th place, ahead of Harley Cranham, as Thompson and Graffin are 2nd and 1st, respectively. 6.5 minutes on the clock to go, plus an additional laps. Leaders now going down across the start-finish line to start lap number 2. As Callum Graffin sets the fastest lap of the race, but it was only, he went 2 wheels on the grass there. Little bit of a nudge behind from Thompson, who gets his way sternly past into the lead. So Thompson had the run on Graffin coming into turn 1, and Graffin just went very, very wide. 2 wheels on the grass, which will still have been a little bit damp from the rain, the deluge of rainfall that we had yesterday afternoon, with Jack Buckley now up in there, right in the back bumper of the number 88 as they go down the back straight, 5 minutes 14, plus an additional lap to go, as it looks like Graffin's going back up into the lead, and Buckley's gone up there with him into 2nd place. So the pair swoop past the number 13, who's now back on the offensive, going down into the latter part of the track. And it just goes to show that with a track like this here at Nuts Corner, it proves that overtaking is possible anywhere as long as you can find a gap. And these drivers are definitely doing it. So I don't know what Graffin's doing there at the moment, but he's probably he's looking over his right shoulder, because Jack Buckley now up into 2nd place. Thomas Thompson down in 3rd place for the minute, but how much longer? This turn 2 is his best one. Oh my goodness, sweeps up the inside of both Buckley and Graffin to retake the lead. So a couple of laps ago, he had the overtaking humble pie thrown in his face. He's now done it to the other 2 behind him. So fantastic job there. Let's have a look at the replay. So look at the momentum he just carries into turn 2. Up the inside of Buckley, goes for it on Graffin. Oh, that was very close indeed. These 2 have nearly come to blows, and we saw that in the first heat, but it looks like it's going to happen again. Is it going to be a return of the favour? Oh, not quite. Graffin gets past, but Buckley can't swoop past Thompson into 2nd position. Incredible. Fantastic racing between the 3 at the front of the field. So Callum Graffin started on pole, started on the front row alongside Jack Buckley. Buckley down into 3rd position behind Thomas Thompson. So it's the 3 at the front that are clearly leading the way. And they've got a gap between themselves and Jack Sant to over 2.5 seconds. As Thompson's going to go for it. Buckley has got the doubles, has got the toe now. Is he going to go up the inside into turn 2? No, not quite. So Thompson takes the lead from Callum Graffin. Luke Agnew, in the meantime, has got past Jack Sant for 4th place. Fastest lap so far, still 1 minute 0.9750 from Callum Graffin. Currently in 2nd place. 4 1,000ths of a second quicker than Thomas Thompson, with Jack Buckley's best effort being a 109.974. So just over 0.2 of a second off. And look, Sant is hounding Agnew quite considerably as Graffin goes up the inside of Thompson on the last corner on the back straight to retake the lead. 2 minutes 45 on the clock left to go. Thompson is still trying to hound Graffin into making a mistake, whilst Jack Buckley is sitting pretty about a kart length behind number 13 in 3rd position, waiting to see how things pan out in front. They were just under 1/10 of a second between the top 3 last time around. The gap's going to be a little bit more considerable, judging by how far Jack Buckley is behind the top 2, but he closes up quite considerably, and it's nearly 3... Oh my goodness, 0.255 of a second, as Thompson was sizing up Graffin. Luke Agnew and Kenzie McNally might have clashed on that last lap around, as they've just gone down to 6th and 7th respectively. Michael Gray now up into 4th, probably did a really good overtake on them. So less than 2 minutes to go here in the Miami Cadet BKC 2nd heat. This is their last amount of track time before the GP final. And rest assured that these 3... Oh, there we go. Thompson's being opportunistic, and he's gone side by side. Oh, that's very close indeed. Nearly interlocking wheels. This is going to allow Buckley to do something. Can't quite do it at the back end of the back straight there for the number 10. So it is still too close to call. Still all to play for. 1 minute 45 seconds on the clock, plus an additional lap in this BKC Miami Cadet heat number 2 here at Nuts Corner. So 13 leads. That's Thompson from Graffin, from Buckley in the 10. Graffin's going up the inside, bump drafting there from Buckley to swoop past Thompson. He's had the boot put on the other foot, so to speak, and Thompson was trying to go past Buckley into turn 2, but Buckley was already wise to the fact of what Thompson's been doing all day long, of swooping past up the inside of people up into turn number 2. And that's been his mantra this weekend, and he's still trying to find a way past the number 10 of Jack Buckley. But we have less than 30 seconds on the clock to go, plus an additional lap to conclude the first half of racing here today at Nuts Corner. So Callum Graffin still leads, but literally just by the footage, it's less than 3 or 4 kart lengths separating him and Thomas Thompson, who's currently in 3rd position. So we will have this plus an additional lap left to run here. The Miami Cadet Bambino Kart Club round 7 here at Nuts Corner in Northern Ireland. And Buckley, I've got that sort of inkling feeling. Last lap board is being shown. So Buckley now has an opportunity, as they've now pulled a gap on Thomas Thompson. But Thompson closes up. He seems to be the last of the late breakers going into turn 2. I think maybe someone like Kasper Tomlewski might have learnt a bit from that, because, well, not from going into the corner, but coming out from the corner, as Buckley is hounding the back bumper of Graffin, going into turns 3 and 4 and 5. Now they're going to 6 and 7, heading onto the back straight for the final time. Callum Graffin takes a brief look over his right shoulder, and Jack Buckley is pretty much there with him, as is Thomas Thompson. They're now going to the last part of the track. Who is it going to be? The top 3, literally line astern. You cannot put any distance between them, as they now head to the penultimate corner, the 180-degree left-hander here at Nuts Corner. And it looks like, I've got a feeling that Thomas Thompson might have the complete advantage. He'll have the double toe coming out of the final corner. Graffin leads from Buckley. Thompson, it's going to be a run to the line. Buckley is going for it, but I don't think he's going to take it. Graffin wins heat number 2, Miami Cadet BKC round 7 by just, wait for it, 0.075 of a second. Thomas Thompson was 0.087 of a second behind Buckley at the flag. So to finish off our coverage here, we'll be keeping the live stream open on our respective Facebook pages and YouTube pages that are broadcasting via Facebook and also by YouTube. So let's run you through the finishing order for Army Cadet BKC Round 7 Heat number 2. So what a photo finish. Callum Graffin takes the win in Bambino Kart Club Army Cadet Heat number 2 by just 0.075 of a second from Jack Buckley in the number 10. There was Thomas Thompson in the number 13, a further 0.087 of a second adrift. Michael Gray was 4th ahead of Jack Sant, who rounded out the top 5. Top 3, 0.162 of a second. Can you believe that, ladies and gentlemen? TJ Tafe was 6th ahead of Luke Agnew, Kenzie McNally, Sherry Ann Powell, and Harley Cranham rounding out the 10 strong order. So that concludes the first day of coverage here at Nuts Corner Raceway, just 15 minutes from Belfast International in Northern Ireland. So on behalf of myself, Alex Goldschmidt, BKC Series commentator, and F100 commentator Ben Topless, we will see you after the lunch break, where we get the pre-finals underway for the F100 O-Plate round here at Nuts Corner in Northern Ireland. We'll be back in just a few moments. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen, for those listening on the Downforce UK feed. That concludes this morning's action of Round 7 of the 2018 Bambino Kart Club and Interkart Championship season here at Nuts Corner in Northern Ireland. With myself, series commentator Alex Goldschmidt, broadcasting from Downforce Communications HQ in North Essex, having not made it to Northern Ireland due to the weather conditions. We'll be back after the pre-finals for the F100s, which includes the 2000s, pre-89s, pre-85s, and the Aquas, and also the Jickers as well. So we'll see you a little bit later on this afternoon when we conclude Round 7 of the 2018 Bambino Kart Club and Interkart Series Championship here in Northern Ireland. Thanks for tuning in.